why bats are there and what they are doing. They really see bats as the evils. While bats are dispersing seed everywhere, and then we grow trees, we grow fruits, we get forest. So people are not really getting the importance of bats, but it's our time. It's our responsibility to tell them the importance of bats so that they help us to conserve them. That is what RWCA have been doing while showing the importance of bats and calling people to help us to protect them. And these bats are using different habitats. For example, when starting with fruit bat, they can use trees, some use houses, and while insectivorous bats use, like they can use caves, trees, like tree holes, different habitat. And they are really cool. And this insectivorous bat and fruit bat, they really have big threats in Rwanda, like everywhere in the world, because people don't understand them and they think they are just evils. They misunderstand them. So the threat they are facing, for example, their habitat disturbance. People are cutting down trees because they want to get rid of bats. And people are cutting down trees, the trees that bats are using, because they just want to harvest their trees. And that is one of the challenges we are having, because these bats are using trees that are privately owned, and you can't really tell someone to not harvest their trees. So it's a challenge we have. And another challenge we have, people don't understand the why bats really can live in the house, why bats can live in the caves, and we don't know that we are the one who caused the bat to live in the house. Because if we don't destroy their trees, they are not going to come in the house. Yeah. And some have traditional beliefs toward bats, like that bats can use for medicine, bats can use when they are like poisoning people. So people have so many beliefs toward bats, and it's really not easy to convince them. But we believe bats are facing all these threats because of ignorance of people. That's why, as RWCA, as conservationists, we are trying hard to call up people, to organize campaigns, to tell people the importance of bats, so that they can help us to protect them and conserve them. So to protect bats, Rwanda Wildlife Conservation Association has been doing a great job to generate misinformation, to quantify ecosystem services of both insectivorous and fruit bats. For example, I've been doing researches to show trees, the seeds that bats can destroy, be dispersed in the nature, and we have been planting those seeds and show people the evidence that bat can disperse seed and we can grow trees. And we have been also focusing on a species which is highly abundant and highly distributed in Rwanda. We call it straw-colored fruit bat, or it is also known as Adrienne. So we have been doing research to show the movement pattern of straw-colored fruit bat. And we have been counting numbers, like every month we count numbers of straw-colored fruit bat to see if there is a fluctuation number, if they decrease, they are trend in the country and they are trend in the colony. So for seed dispersal, the research we have been doing, we have been going and set seed traps beneath trees to collect seeds from fecal material and go at RWCA nursery to germinate them, and later we have been planting these trees. So far we identified 6 different tree species, that we collected in bat poop. And after collecting these 6 different tree species, we germinated them at Musambi village, where we have RWCA nursery. Then later on, we harvested. We got 163 trees. Then we planted them to contribute to bat foraging habitat. That was the research we did on fruit bat to show that bat can play a big role in dispersing seeding nature. And we have been taking people to show them those trees we planted, the trees that came from bat poop. The research we did on insectivorous bat, we collected the fecal material from insectivorous bats, and we to identify the pests that bats have been destroying. So so far, we collected 65 from 143 bats we collected. We got 85 pest species, insects. Then 60% of all insect species we found in bat fecal material only in east of Rwanda. That only on 65 insects were pests. Then from north of Rwanda, we also collected a total of 11 insect species, where 63% of them were pests. And in Bugarama, in the west of Rwanda, we collected 9 species of insects, where 78% of them were found to be pests. So based on this result, you can see that how bat can really play a big role in controlling these agriculture crop pests. Besides of doing researches, we also do conservation activities like involving kids and local communities, in our activities, and we do awareness campaigns. So for doing awareness campaign, approximately 6,300 people attended community awareness campaign, where you have been teaching people and telling them the importance and the learning the importance of bat, telling them why they should help us to conserve bat. So it's really a good event because people like this event. Because when we go for this event, we go with some musicians and we go with some prizes. Then we put music and people like music and come to understand what we are saying. Then once in a while, we put the messages of bats, messages of conservation, and how we should conserve bat. And we set competition and we put prizes, and people really pay attention because they want to win prizes. So it's really a good event and people like it. And we have been seeing that we made a huge impact through these campaigns. And we have been also visiting schools, primary schools, neighboring bat colonies, especially colonies of straw-colored fruit bat. And one of the schools we visited is a primary school of Ruhango near Yezunyelemohwe. We visited the primary school and 924 primary school children were engaged. And it was really a good event and the kids were enjoyed. And we also created bat conservation youth clubs in those schools neighboring Adrienne home colonies, and kids really love these clubs and really show that they want to contribute in conservation. Like I mentioned, we count straw-colored fruit bat every month, and we have So far, we have 14 colonies of straw-colored fruit bat across the country, and our numbers of straw-colored fruit bat have been ranging from above 7,000 to 59,000 straw-colored fruit bats, and this was counted around 2018 and 2019. So we are still counting every month, and we have been seeing that there is a huge fluctuation among colonies and across countries. And this is caused by people who are cutting down trees, because sometimes we can go to field and you have a colony of straw-colored fruit bat around of 17,000, and tomorrow you can go there and you find no bats, because people have, like landowners have harvested their trees, or they just wanted to get rid of bats. So these colonies are across countries. You can see we have colonies which is in the west north of Rwanda, like in Gisenyi, and another one in the west of Rwanda, middle west, in Karongi. There is another one which is in the southwest, in Changugu, and another one on the island, in Hombo Island. We have another one also, a huge colony, a big one of more than 50,000 straw-colored fruit bat in Lake Kivu. We call it Napoleon Island. So we have more colonies here, and we have them in the south, in Huye, in Nyanza, at Kanyaru border, and in Kigali, even in east of Rwanda. So you can see this straw-colored fruit bat is highly distributed in Rwanda and more abundant, but it is near threatened because their habitat are being destroyed. So to help in conserving this bat, we recruited 9 bat conservation champions who are helping in counting Adrienne every month, also reporting the threat and raising awareness around colonies. These 9 bat conservation champions are primary school teachers, neighboring key bat colonies. So we gave them smartphones and we helped them to install Cyber Tracker, and they're using this app to record data and report data to RWCA. So they have been reporting illegal activities that are happening in the colonies. They have been helping also to raise awareness in the colonies. For capacity building, we also worked with boat drivers and guides who are taking tourists at Napoleon Island. So far we worked with 31 boat drivers and guides, and we taught them how they should help, how to live safely with bats, how the importance role of bats. So they got to know what the bats are. These boat drivers have been going to Napoleon Island, and they have been throwing stones to bats to place the tourists so that bat can fly in the sky and place tourists. So after giving them this training, they no longer do this to disturb bat. They really know the importance of bat. So we increased their knowledge about bats. Another activity we are doing, it's about tracking the movement pattern of straw-colored fruit bat. So we have been putting GPS tags on bats, only on the straw-colored fruit bat, to see when they are going, because these bats are migratory, and we wanted to know when they are going and where they go. And if the landowner cut down the trees, where bats are moving to. So far we put 22 GPS tags on bats in Napoleon Island and in Ruhango colony and in Musha. So these GPS tags are somewhat expensive. We are still searching funds to tag more bats so that we can see where bats are going. And so far, we found out that bats can travel to Burundi, to Tanzania, to Congo, and even to DRC. And we found that bats can move among colonies in the country. And they can even, like I said, they can even cross borders. So it's a good information. In the future, we are thinking about how we can collaborate with the countries neighboring Rwanda on this project to see if our bats are there, if their bats are here, how we can help each other to protect our bats. We also did a survey in the east of Rwanda to see houses that have bats. So in the survey we conducted, we reached on 748 houses. We are asking if they have bats and the contact list with bats. So in 748 houses we visited, 70% of these houses were having bats in the house and they're selling. Yeah. So when we were asking, we gave them questionnaires to see if they see dead bat, if they eat bat, if they were scratched by bat, if they get contact with feces or their urine, or if their children interact with bats, and how they cover their food and water. So we wanted to see if they have bats, do they really live safely with bats? You know, bats, like other animals, can have diseases that can transmit to people, like other animals. So we wanted to see the safety of these people and if they don't harm bats and if bats don't harm them. So so far we got results, and they are somehow promising, but we still want to go there and do campaigns, tell them how they should live safely with bats, how they should behave. Yeah, and we are thinking to create more loose alternatives for insectivorous bats, such as bat boxes. And so far, we have created only 5 bat houses. Rwanda Wildlife Conservation Association is relying on funds, so we are trying to search more funds so that we can have like more loose alternatives. We are also working to protect caves. We thought about protecting caves because we realized that so many caves are being disturbed. For example, in east of Rwanda, some caves are used for prayers and meditation. So it's really somehow weird. We have been finding people like 40 people or more than 40 people staying in caves for prayers. Like they can stay the whole month playing and together with children. So to protect these bats and while also protecting people, we put 2 community members as champions to take a role in monitoring the caves and recording people who want to enter caves. So we also put information board on the cave entrance to tell people the lore and the importance of bats, why they shouldn't enter caves, and what if someone enter cave should wear very well a mask. So that is what we have been doing, and we also worked to contribute to bat habitat, Like I told you, we have been collecting seeds from fruit bats, bulb. So we have been planting those trees to show the evidence that bats are dispersing seeds in nature. We also planted 2,550 trees near Rwamagana site to contribute to bat colonies. Yeah, this is what RWCA have been doing as researchers and conservation action. Thank you so much, and I welcome the question, please.
Thank you, Claire, for the nice presentation. Is the board around?
Yes, I am. So, thank you so much, Claire.
Yeah.
Going to look into the chat and see if people have posted their questions. And I want Justin to assist me to see if there are questions, because I get disconnected in the middle of the presentation, so I don't see if people have put the questions before. Justin, do we have questions in the chat?
Yeah, I think we have one question from Lucky, and
Yes.
he was asking if Claire find any large seeded tree species which is being dispersed by birds in her research.
Excuse me?
Yes, Claire, did you get the question?
No, please.
Justin, can you repeat?
It's a question from Lucky. He was asking if you find any big seeded tree species that is being dispersed by birds in your research.
Okay. So far the seeds we found were for fig trees, and for passion fruit, and yeah, those are the big ones we found.
Okay, thank you, Claire. We have another question from Tarzia. He was asking if there are bats edible, if bats are edible by people.
So far in Rwanda, we never found a case where people eat bat, but in our neighboring country, we always hear those cases. But in Rwanda, no, we never get a case where people eat bats.
Okay, thank you. Another question from Tasia. Do we have any bat family group in Nyungwe National Park?
Yeah, in Nyungwe National Park, we have, so far we identified more than 10 families.
Oh, wow.
And we are still exploring more, because we never exhausted the Nyungwe.
Okay, thank you, Claire. Hilary has asked, do you record bat colonies and species by sight or sound? Yes?
Do we record bat colonies
by sight or sound?
By sight.
Only by sight.
Only, even by sound.
Oh, so she said, if you do that by sound, what method do you use?
Okay, by sight, we visit site, then we capture bats. We try to identify them using their features and identification keys. So by sound, we use SM4s, bat detectors, where we capture their sound, then we analyze them using kaleidoscope.
Okay, thank you. We don't have any question in the chat so far, but if anyone who wants to ask the question, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Okay. Thank you, Claire, for the nice presentation. My name is Antoine Saimana. So I was following your presentation. I saw that you use the GPS to locate the bat. So, and you said sometimes maybe they can travel to Burundi, cross the border.
Yeah.
So they are going there and coming back, or they are going there and they stay there?
They go and come back. They just
Come back.
go, yeah, they just go and come back. Depend of the food availability or other factors that we haven't identified them. But
So
they go and come back.
So they go there, and I don't know. I don't understand the way they can go there and they stay there for how long? Maybe you said it's depend on the.
Sometimes they travel like twice a year, but we haven't identified really or like how long they can stay and come back. It depends on colonies. Sometimes they spend like 2 to 3 months.
Yeah. So what I wanted to know, do you have a period of this immigration or immigration? I don't know exactly what kind of word they can use.
Yeah, for most of colonies in Rwanda, we have realized that bats tend to travel around October and come back around Feb. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I have another question about the habitat. Those ones,
Insectivorous.
Yes, insectivorous.
Yeah.
And those fruit bats, they do have the same habitat?
No. Insectivorous tend to live in caves, houses, abandoned houses, even those not abandoned, and some live in the trees. So it depends on the species. But most of the fruit bats live in the trees, although there are some which live in the caves or even houses. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Claire and Antoine. We have another question from Adrienne Kumana. He's asking, are species of birds found in Akagera National Park common in a country?
So we haven't identified all species which are in Akagera National Park, but so far we know those two ones which are common in east of Rwanda, which are the one of Mops condylis and Cheilophon cornelius, but we haven't exhausted like identifying or exploring all species which are in Akagera National Park.
Okay, thank you. Another question, did you meet any traditional beliefs against bats in the population which may hamper your conservation initiative? It's from Marie Christine.
Repeat again.
Do you meet any traditional beliefs against bats in the populations which may hamper your conservation initiative?
For traditional beliefs, it's just perceptions of people. we just hear people saying that sometimes people use bats for healing, as medicine, for healing people, but we haven't seen this with our eyes.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Anyone who have another question to ask by unmuting yourself?
Hello, Deborah,
Yes.
Hillary here.
Yes, Hillary. Yes.
Good afternoon. I was just thinking about the bat movements and why they might go such a long way. In Europe, we have bat species that set up specific maternity roosts in the summer, and they're only occupied by the females, and they're only used for maternity reasons. So, and then we have specific hibernation roosts in the winter. You probably don't have hibernating bats, but I'm wondering if the bats make those movements to go to maternity roosts. It's just an idea, really.
For us, the bats that we have been seeing migrating are these one of fruit bats. And so far, we haven't identified the factors which cause them to migrate. So far, the only thing we think they migrate for searching food, or for if they are disturbance. For example, if they cut down trees, bats migrate. And if there is no food in the area, they migrate. So we haven't identified if they migrate when they are for maternity reason, but we have been seeing young babies with their mothers in the colony, and we have been seeing them in the colony. And for insectivorous bats, we still want to do that research to identify the reproduction of bats and their breeding seasons, because every species has its breeding season, which is different with another one.
Okay, good. Thank you, Claire.
Yeah.
Another question or comment? We still have about 20 minutes of our talk. So if anyone has comment or question, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Hello, Claire, I have a question.
Yes, Jocelyn.
On the fruit bats, there are some species of trees that you identify their fruit are eaten by bats. I'm wondering if those trees are widely distributed in the country, or if they are found in some particular location.
Those trees that are being dispersed by bats are highly distributed in the country. But when you go to the bat colony, like for colony of straw-colored fruit bats, you tend to find those trees that are being dispersed by the straw-colored fruit bat, because the seeds pass through fecal material, and when they put fecal material around, so the trees get out.
Okay, thank you. So if we don't have any further questions, we can adjourn this this seminar of today. We thank Marie Claire for a great presentation today, and we would like to welcome talks from anywhere in the world. So if you have any research or presentation that you would like to share or give, please contact the center and we will get yours organized. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
See you in the next seminar next week.
Thank you so much for hosting me, and thank you for your attention, please.
Okay, thank you. Oh, someone asked how to contact. So I'm going to type in the email of the center. You can, yes, email.
Yeah.